what a chaotic time it's been for the overall market, in particularly the finance sector. However, in this video, I want to go ahead and break down the monster of a move that is potentially about to happen to Tesla stock. Now, before I go ahead and break down this move, I have to at least provide at least a little bit of context. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and dive deep into the mechanics of everything because obviously I want to make this video very concise because I really just want to focus on the move with Tesla. But there are a few things that I have to mention, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify and summarize as much as I can. But with that being said, we all know what happened with Silicon Valley Bank and how they pretty much failed over the weekend and they had to get bailed out. Now, this bailout wasn't your traditional bailout because in a traditional bailout, everyone gets saved. Investors, executives, depositors, right? In this case, it was just the depositors, and the reason why this was done was because they were trying to stifle, the scenario of this happening to other regional banks. Now, with this being done, it does not 100% guarantee that bank runs won't happen on other regional banks, but it definitely does provide an extra layer of insurance that this probably won't spread out as much as it would have if this wasn't done. Now, how was this done? Well, basically all banks pay a fee, to the FDIC insurance so that, they could, insure, up to a certain threshold. However, in this case, all depositors, regardless if they had more than the $250,000 in the bank, they're all rescued, right? And so again, this was done to protect, this from spreading out, which is good. However, this leads to another situation. So this chain of chaotic events puts a lot of pressure on the Federal Reserve. See, what a lot of investors are now speculating is that 50 basis points getting hiked is out of the question, which leaves us to two options, right? The alternative option of 25 basis points or no hike at all, right? And so a lot of people are speculating that because of what's already been happening, that if the Fed hikes by too much going forward, well, they just can't do that anymore because the pain is already hitting the market. And so they have to be a little bit more softer. They have to chill out a little bit, right? And so, obviously if the Federal Reserve hikes by 25 basis points, that's still bad because obviously there's hiking by 25 basis points, but it's going to be seen as bullish or optimistic for the overall market because, investors, speculators, market participants, they're seeing this as, okay, well, if they hike by 25 basis points, that means that they're probably just going to hike by 25 basis points, maybe a few more times, and then they're going to come to a pause, and then after that pause, it's going to have to, pivot and, start cutting rates, which is obviously going to be very bullish for the overall market because now there is financial incentive to actually have money poured into the stock market, right? Now, in my opinion, the option of not hiking at all, I think is a very slim chance simply because we've heard Jerome Powell repeatedly have a hawkish stance and a hawkish tone saying that, they want to bring back price stability and they want to reduce inflation. Right now, inflation is still not at the 2% level. And so obviously the Federal Reserve still has a challenge ahead of them. However, there's now this other pressure. Well, okay, we have to bring inflation down, but at what point are we just causing too much pain to the market? Which is why, I believe that there's going to be a 25 basis points hike, which is probably most likely going to happen. However, I don't try to bet or, what's going to happen. I wait for the information. However, we're already seeing Tesla stock kind of bounce up from certain levels. But, of course, if we just hike by 25 basis points and then we get closer to a time where there's no more hikes, and then, of course, closer to a time where, there's, a reduction in cuts in interest rates, well, that is just like pretty much a entrance for a rocket ship for Tesla stock to go up. Now, for some of the technical traders, they've been looking at the daily time frame for Tesla, and they're saying, well, there is a gap over here, and this gap has to be filled, so we're gonna have Tesla come down. Now, for those of you guys that either watch the channel or you're subscribed to the channel, by the way, if you're not subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button. It totally is free and it helps out the overall channel. But for those of you guys that are familiar when it comes to what I look at, I don't just look at one data point, such as looking at the charts. I think there's much more than the just looking at the squiggly lines on the chart, right? In fact, there's so many different data points that influence what's going on in the overall market. And with that being said, I actually want to plug something in. I have a free workshop, right? Completely free, where I actually break down what it is that actually influences the market. So if you're someone that's not part of the Push and Profit private group, right, and you are interested into learning what data points it is that I look into, because again, you just can't look at one data point. So for the people that are just technical traders, they just look at lines on a chart and say, oh, well, it broke down this level, it has to go down, or it broke up this level, right? You know, they're constantly just making things up. And, you know, at the end of the day, markets don't move because lines are, you know, being moved around, right? There's other external data points, right? Other factors that influence the direction of the market. And so if you guys are interested in learning on what data points it is that I look at when it comes to trading and investing in the overall market, check out the first link in the description of this video because there is a free workshop. With that being said, again, we have to pay attention to a few things. Now, number one is obviously, how is the CPI report going to be? And then number two, right, and this is more important, is how are the Feds going to respond, you know, based, because this is going to be the last report before they make their decision, right? There's no other report that comes out. And so how they respond is going to be very important, especially the tone that comes out of Jerome Powell's mouth, right? Are we going to have more of a hawkish tone that we have been, you know, repeatedly hearing, or are we going to hear some more dovish words, right? Because if we hear more of a dovish tone for Jerome Powell, well, you know, that's going to go ahead and have the market thinking, well, okay, we're getting closer to that pivot, which is why we could possibly see Tesla stock just skyrocket up from this level. But again, we have to be patient and we can't just gamble and make predictions. I'm someone that likes to wait for the data to come out, and then based off that data, that's when I go ahead and I strike. Now, something else that we have to keep an eye out for is the date at which Tesla Cybertrucks are going to begin production. Now, we don't know the date as of yet. However, what we do know is that is going to start sometime this year in 2023, as it was mentioned in one of the events. I think it was either Cyber Rodeo Roundup or it was in the last earnings call. I'm not sure, you guys could correct me, but I do remember Elon Musk mentioning that in the summer of 2023, you know, this is where production for the Cybertrucks begins. Now, he did downplay it because, you know, the production for this year for Cybertrucks is going to be very minuscule, and in reality, the real production ramps up in 2024. However, the date of which the Cybertrucks announced could really provide itself as a, you know, catalyst for Tesla stock to prop upwards. So that's something that we want to pay attention to. Again, we're in spring, and as we get closer, you know, we're cutting, you know, closer and closer to summer. So we really want to see possibly maybe announcing a tweet from Elon, but definitely something we want to pay attention to. With that being said, guys, let me know in the comment section below, do you think this is the bottom for Tesla as we start rising up? Or is there more pain? Now, in my opinion, I think there's going to be more pain in the overall market, but I think in the short term, we're possibly going to see Tesla stock rally up. Again, you know, this is just a prediction. I have to wait for the data to come out so we could go ahead and parse through the information. But with that being said, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to watch this video right over here. See you guys on that next video. Take care, guys.